This is Brad King. He is the project manager for Albright College.
Okay.
He's basically the gentleman who is. Yeah, he's in charge of the projects, but he's basically turned around Albright College.
So I appreciate those kind of words, but you guys need anything over at Albright College, let me know.
Because we, for many years, had problems contacting Albright and getting in touch with them. And Brad's been like, yeah, whatever you need, just call him. So,
It should
Good,
be.
so it should be.
Albright's such an important institution. I went there for 4 years. And Brad heard that I was extremely disappointed. And he called me and said, hey, things are going to be a little different now. And ever since then.
Well, we're committed, not only myself, but the CFO, which is Jeff Strady, and Jackie, the president. So we're all committed to this. We want to change that relationship. A lot of people they don't realize the necessity behind having this direct line of communication. So we want to make sure that it's open, we're responsive, and we'll work things out.
So it's much different than what I'm used to.
Good.
Because. Well, I won't get into that, but like I said, Brad's been a team player. I mean, and that's what we want.
Yes, all right, something else.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
We're good to go? All right,
Great.
very good. I know Frank's here, I know Will's here, Peter's here, so we're gonna start the meeting. I'm gonna call the City of Reading Planning Commission meeting for Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022 to order. Let me remove my glasses because I can't see that. I'm nearsighted. As I mentioned, Peter Rye, Frank Dembowski, and Wilson Fisi are online with us today. Danny DiCarlo and Nelson DeLeon and myself, Wayne Beeler, who is the chairman, are here in person at the third floor conference room. I want to welcome the new planning commission members, Daniel DiCarlo, who is here, and Frank Dembowski. Many of you probably know Frank. I know Frank for maybe 15 years already. Because of all the work he's done at the city. He has, from what I understand, he has retired from the city and has been gracious enough to join us here at the Planning Commission. First item on our agenda is to accept the Planning Commission meeting agenda. We are actually going from the draft meeting agenda that was sent out on Thursday or Friday. Because Brandy is on vacation, but I saw no problems with that, and that is what was posted online. Do I hear a motion to accept the meeting agenda? So move. Okay, Nelson. Second.
Peter will second.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, very good. We have an agenda. First item on the agenda is the 420 Walnut Street annexation plan. This is a new plan that's coming to us for the first time, so I'm going to hand it over to Jerome to explain what's going on.
Okay, this project is identified as 420 Walnut Street. It actually involves 416, 418, and 420 Walnut Street. And we're going to be classifying those as building group A. Across the street on Walnut Street is building group B, which would consist of 417 and 419 Walnut Street. That is no part of this project. Just wanted to make it clear. The applicant owns both of those building groups, but building group A, which is 416, 418, and 420, Walnut Street is what's relevant to this project. It does involve an annexation plan as well as a land development plan. This went through adaptive reuse and as far as a special exception application with the zoning hearing board. And it was approved. The number of dwelling units that was approved for was 18 residential apartments in building group A. The development is located in the R3 zoning district. As I mentioned, the zoning hearing board did approve zoning hearing board appeal 2022-24 on June 8th, allowing this to proceed and move forward. The plan does not exactly identify what I just described, so the plan would need to be corrected in order to clarify some things. There was other zoning relief that was granted to the project involving lot area, minimum floor area for studio apartments, and some off-street parking requirements. There are no stormwater, there's no exterior improvements, so there are no stormwater management improvements. They will need to go through the planning module process because it's going to be an increase in sanitary sewer flows, we think. And we had also brought up several comments with regarding site accessibility and pedestrian accessibility, as well as parking. Parking will be done off-site. It's not going to be accomplished on-site. They will be required to obtain a lease agreement. So we're going to have to work that agreement out. We've had some difficulties in the past, but I believe that the zoning hearing board was very clear on what they need to do. There may be some curbs and sidewalk improvements. And the rest of the comments that we have mentioned in here are things that are standard. For example, fire and rescue department will need to evaluate the property. Building and trades will need to evaluate some things before approval. We'll need Berks County Planning Commission review, and I think we can just table this. It's got a lot of things that they need to do. Dan is here, I believe, representing.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey. Hello, Dan. Thanks
How
for
are you doing?
joining us.
This was something that kind of came in and they wanted to fast track it through, so I did the best we could with the information I had. But all the buildings on both sides of Walnut Street are on the same deed, which makes it kind of a conundrum. So what you wanted, but they didn't get the zoning for the other side of the street.
That's my understanding, yes. They did not.
Okay. So they have to go get the zoning relief for that section.
Also realize, Dan, that the previous use of this site was considered two different uses.
What's that?
And that's probably another reason why we need to go through zoning. Because
The other side of the street.
well, the north side of the street, the previous use was
Group home.
actually not a group home. That was a rehabilitation facility. The south side of the street was a group home.
Ah,
And I think that has something to do with it. You know, I didn't sit down and look at all the details, but I've actually known people have gone through the facility, and those were always considered two different types of facilities, and they were always considered two different uses.
okay. So the north side's going to it has to go to zoning on that.
No, the south side. The even side,
No, the odd side.
the odd side, okay.
The odd side's on the north side. So that needs zoning relief. The south side, we can separate that and move ahead.
Yeah, I would go to the zoning hearing board to get the odd side looked at, because like I said, that, as far as I know, that's been considered a different use.
So they'll need to submit the zoning permit,
Mhm.
and then we'll let them know whether or not they need zoning hearing board approval, but
Yeah.
it wasn't.
Yeah, And since it's also a road that's divided by a PennDOT road, those deeds should have never been consolidated anyway.
Well, we can't change what was done in the past.
Yeah.
People
So
do
this
crazy things.
this might be one of those things where the city needs to fix what they did in the past.
Well, what we'll have to do is survey it. I think Jerome's letter said he needs to have good floor plans laid out with what he's going to be doing here so that he can submit to Public Works, correct? Or the Building and Trades.
Building and trades, correct.
Yeah,
Now,
that's also correct, because my understanding is that the previous use was only single occupancy. And it's going to be converted to a use where families will be able to use the facility.
well, my understanding from him, and that's all I know, and you can tell me if you know something different, that it had been apartments and then it had been changed to a group home, and they tore walls out and kitchens and different things like that. And from what he tells me, all he wants to do is change it back to the way it was. So, and that was apartments and what he was
Yeah.
allowed to use by the zoning hearing board.
Right,
Dan, I'll send you the zoning hearing board decision. That way you have it, that will help you out. And then that way you know what applies. So
Now,
let's take it from there.
You can see on the one page I did, Jerome, I drew up the parking lot that's behind his property. And that has a lot of vacant parking spaces, and he can get a long-term lease for the parking spaces on that lot.
That's mentioned in the zoning hearing board decision.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing is I put together a letter on sewage flows from the current information we got from Rawa, and I don't know if we need a sewage planning module or not. Somebody's gonna have to look at that and see what we have to do with it.
Yeah, Dan, this is Tim, and I did read your letter, and I'm glad to see you did find some data, some billing history, and it looks like there was some substantial flows, historically. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I tried to look it up on my end in our Hanson database, and either it's my computer today or something, it was locking up. So I got to get in there and check those. But I see where you're going with it. You say that there's no laundry facilities. Okay. And I understand that. So I don't have a decision today, but I expect to have something here shortly to see if we concur with your analysis.
Okay, well, that's fair.
If you do, then there would be no planning modules and no fee for that.
Okay. Let me know, because it takes time to get all that stuff together if we got to go through the module route.
Yep, understood. I did have one other question. Do you expect there to be any address change for this conversion? Will they stay the same?
More
I-
than likely,
I would
More than
imagine
likely
we
so.
consolidate it into one address.
Yeah, right now it's what, 420, 418, is that right?
and
It's
416.
18 and 20.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm looking at it on Street View, and 420-418. So I guess 416 is in there too.
Yeah,
So you're thinking about doing it as to one. So what again, excuse me, what we'll need is then a request from you or the developer, email's fine, that you would like to have that address change, and then we'll push that through the engineering department.
write you a letter with the address?
Yeah, what you're requesting for an address, and then we'll try to accommodate that.
Yeah, the deed is kind of, if I recall, I think 16 and 17 are the same per part. And then 20 is sitting by itself, and then the two across the street are separate per parts. And it's all pieced
Wow.
together like.
I've never heard of that. Not in this part of the city. Wow.
I'll send you the deed.
Please do. I'd be curious to see that, because you've got a 60-foot right of way separating the two.
Well,
That's very strange.
out in the country, you have.
Oh, I know that. Oh, yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen pieces that aren't even in the same township on the
Yeah,
same deed.
yeah, I know what you're talking about, but this is the city with established street right-of-ways.
Yeah, and we were questioning that earlier, Tim. So I said I might be able to see it on a city street where the deed mentions things that are across the street from each other on a city street, but not on a PennDOT street.
Well, then we've all learned something tonight.
Hmm.
So I guess then you're going to table that and we'll work together and see what, if we have something for, I doubt if we'll have anything for next month then.
Yeah, did you receive anything from the Berks County Planning Commission, Dan?
We submitted to it. So, but usually they're a little bit behind and they don't catch up for the first meeting. So I would say we'd have something for the December meeting.
Yeah, I didn't see anything on the FTP site. I don't know if Jerome received anything. No. So, yeah, so we're gonna have to table it anyway, Dan, because by municipalities planning code, we cannot take any action until the Berks County Planning Commission has their say.
Fair enough. Is
Mr.
this
Chairman, can
the
you
only
hear me?
one I have on the agenda? I didn't see the agenda.
Just the reaffirmations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we'll take care of those, Dan. So if you need to do something else, you don't need to stay online for that.
Okay. I thank you. And
Yeah, we'll send you an
I
email.
changed the date and I just sent one over with the date on it. I had missed that. So that's in Brandy's file, not Brandy's, Emily's file.
Okay,
Right.
I think I got it.
Okay, all right. Now that staff has the opportunity to comment, I think Will would like to make a comment.
Okay, could you hear me?
Yes, Will.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, just for the benefit of the new members, it is really odd, like Tim Kroll from Public Works said, to have a non-contiguous parcel. I mean, we've experienced perp parts before that were contiguous, but so what I'm thinking then, Mr. Chairman, is that we should do, assuming that they get the zoning relief, we should do a subdivision and then a consolidation annexation, which is unusual, but I think we have to do that first. It would seem to be. I know we have to table it tonight, of course, but we're looking ahead. When we get to that point, I think we have to subdivide the two building groups and then consolidate the three in building group A, along with, considering the plan. That's just, the note for the future, to keep it all straight. But that's all I have. I remember the previous uses, like what you were saying, Mr. Chairman. I wasn't sure about one side of the street being different from the other. I don't know that. I just remember there were.
Yeah, this definitely seems like an odd case, and I think I think Jerome and zoning and Michelle is going to have to take a look at this.
The applicant will have a couple opportunities or options to do this project. They could certainly subdivide it, building group A and building group B. They could certainly bring it into the zoning hearing board, then subdivide it, then do the annexations. There's a number of ways that they can do this.
Okay.
But at least we got it all clarified for them.
I'll have to check back. It could be somebody just added deeds. I'll have to look at the previous deeds and see if that's the way they were or not, or if they were separated and somebody just put it together on this one.
That would be very helpful, Dan. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that deed research and send that stuff over to Tim and Jerome.
Okay.
Because maybe it's just somebody somebody was buying everything and they just lumped everything all on one deed, but isn't the way it's been titled in the past.
Do you have anything, Peter?
Just that I would agree that, subdividing these and straightening out the deeds, this would be the time to do that.
Do you have any comments, Frank?
Yes, just very briefly. I read the land development plan review done by Jerome, and number 11 talks about the need for a solid waste management plan. And when I take a look, I saw the picture of where the building's at, and I'm very, very familiar of that area. So I just don't want to overlook that, because there's a high litter problem. And I do know that in that area, and that building's like landlocked, I know it's very challenging in order to store trash collection. But the solid waste department, where I used to work at for 5 years, so I have some working knowledge of this, could be very helpful in developing a solid waste plan with maybe a dumpster with screening and frequency of pickup. Now, I don't know how the trash is being picked up now. I can't see from the picture, so maybe they do have a plan in place. But I just want to emphasize that that's a high litter area. I think we're talking about 12 units, and I'm just thinking that we just want to make sure that the trash collection is set up in a reasonable way that works for everybody.
If looking at the buildings, and a survey will tell us more, I think there's some open space between them that we can put probably not really a dumpster, but individual trash that they can take out to the curbside for curbside pickup. I don't think that almost the whole lot is covered with building, and on the south side there is probably room for a parking space, but you never get a trash truck in there to pick a dumpster up. So it's really a challenge. I think the best thing would be with individual containers for each apartment and in a secure area.
Right, and I think what would be helpful, and I know it's a little bit costly, is more frequency of pickup. I have a similar building that's down the street from my house, and same setup. They get once a week trash pickup, and boy, by the end of the week, the dumpster's overflowing. There's stuff all over the place just because of the capacity issue. So something to consider, frequency of pickup.
Okay.
Because most of our litter problem, a big part of it is actually how we place our trash. There's obviously people throwing stuff around, but not as much as people think. It's really coming from how we place our trash collection. And I know it's a difficult spot. I dealt with this for years, where like, what do you do? So we obviously we're very reasonable, but I think we need to find a plan that that works for everybody. Because up the street there's an apartment building. I'm trying to remember. It's across the street from the former Democratic headquarters. So years ago, when I was in that building, I would look outside and I just see this dumpster overflowing all the time, and of this other property. And there's litter knee deep in that block. That block is knee deep in litter. It's bad. The only thing we had was when.
Yeah, we'll definitely have the staff take a look at this in coordination with the current solid waste department, because those are very important items, and luckily you have the previous knowledge that we don't have about this.
Yep, great. Yeah, I don't want to go on, but yes, thank you.
Hey, Frank, this is Tim, and I just had a question while I got your attention. Since you're familiar with solid waste, could they check with Public Works Solid Waste to see if there were any previous issues with the dumpster for this previous use? I'm looking at Street View right now, and there's a Republic dumpster. I can see it's right on Madison Avenue at the rear of the building. It's the southeast corner of the building.
Well, that would be known, most recent. That would be known by the staff, right? If there's a problem.
And I'm thinking, if they'd have a problem accessing Madison Avenue, I don't know.
Well, right. I don't want to make a problem when there's not, right? Maybe they got it all solved. I don't know, but they could. I can't tell from the picture though. So
okay,
just want to put that out. But
I think Steve Harity is our staff person that would be able probably to answer that question. As far as, location and history, since it's already got a history, might as well go to school on what was been done before. And that'll probably help answer the question.
Yes.
Anything else, Frank?
Thank you. No.
Okay, thanks, Frank. Nelson? Okay, very good. Does staff have anything else about this project? Okay, very good. From what I can tell, we have not received comments from Berks County Planning Commission, so we will need to. Oh, I'm sorry, Dan. I forgot to.
Good.
Okay, great. The Berks County Planning Commission has not had an opportunity to review this project, so we will have to table it. Do I hear a motion to table?
I'll
So
move it,
moved.
Mr. Chairman. Oh, go ahead.
Not sure who that was.
Frank.
It was Frank?
Go ahead.
Frank. Yeah.
Okay, and I believe the second was by Peter.
No.
Then.
But I can
Yes,
do it.
well.
I would be happy to.
Maybe a
Well-
team player.
We'll take Peter as the second.
All right.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, very good. This project is tabled. And Dan, we hope to see you next month if you can get some of this stuff squared away.
Okay.
I know you're
We'll see
very
what we can do.
diligent. Yeah, you're always very diligent about this kind of stuff, so yeah, we hope to see you in December.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Okay, next on the agenda, we have 625 McKnight Street parking land development plan. There we go. Which is has been submitted by the Reading Parking Authority. Is there anyone here for this plan? Yeah, maybe we'll hear it from them. I will turn it over to Jerome for the synopsis.
Okay, we received the revised plan. This is a revised preliminary / final plan application. The review letter is dated November 21st, 2022. There's a couple significant things that need to be addressed, and that's why the applicant is not here. Item number 4 on the review letter, they still need to go or clear the zoning hearing board with regards to their zoning variances. That decision is expected on December 14th. So that's one key item that is going to need to be resolved. We also brought up several comments on site accessibility, which they should easily be able to overcome, as well as stormwater management. They should be able to overcome those issues too. But these are items that they should clean up before the plan's reviewed. They did submit a revised landscaping plan, and our certified arborist should take a look at that to make sure that that's acceptable. And there will be a municipal improvements agreement that will be required for this project as well. So there's, I believe the applicant is going to be requesting a waiver for the municipal improvements agreement, and we stated the reasons why municipal improvements agreement would be necessary for this project. It's because it involves stormwater management facilities, site accessibility issues, streetscape improvements, and therefore we recommend that a standard improvements agreement take place. They'll also have a stormwater management improvements agreement as well. So I think they're going to be coming back with to clean up everything. They'll have the zoning hearing board decision. So at this point, this project should be tabled.
Okay. Michelle, on the question of the waiver, did we actually receive that in writing?
And actually, if they're requesting a full waiver, I don't have my saldo with me, but I believe that has to go through city council.
Oh, okay. That could be. So
like we did with Habitat where they
Right.
wanted to post their HUD.
right, yeah.
It's,
that's-
it's a, I have to do a little bit of research
Mhm.
because technically you can waive the requirements in DeSaldo, but DeSaldo requires that anything regarding improvement, anything other than a standard financial security has to go through council.
Not that because of all the contingencies that we would waive this, but I think it might be best to have our solicitor take a look at this and then draw up a motion for us to consider in December. For the possibility of waiving the municipal improvements agreement. As we heard, it's not recommended by staff, but it might be a technicality that we're gonna have to take care of. Like I said, like I always say, we're not showing any favorites here. If it has to be done, it has to be done, and we will make the appropriate. We will do the appropriate motion.
One key difference between the two projects, Habitat for Humanity did not have stormwater management improvements. This one does.
And I would agree if there's stormwater, I would support Jerome's recommendation that you not waive it.
Mhm.
Maybe limit it, but I will do the research and draft a motion.
Great.
And I utilize the Habitat as far as council's involvement with the financial security, not so much as what was required.
They are similar projects.
Okay.
So, yeah, I would appreciate it from staff if we could do that. And then have that ready for the next meeting. Also, I understand that we have not received comments from Berks County Planning Commission.
I think we just received them today.
I think so.
Mr. Chairman, that's correct. We haven't received anything for 625 McKnight yet from the county.
Okay. Very good.
Brandy, that's something we'll check on when you get back.
Sounds good.
Very good.
I had a quick question.
Yes, go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I think comment number 3 was interesting. I didn't catch that, but the actual address is 641. And they're listing it on their plan as 625. And I don't know, Jerome, if you know, is that their intent? Do they want to change the address to 625?
Yeah, I think they want to change it.
Yeah,
I
again-
don't know the reason, but they
Right,
they want to
okay.
change it.
Well, if that's the case, I mean, Public Works has no problem with, accommodating that, but we don't want to make the change without their requesting it. We're just not going to arbitrarily change an address unless we have a reason to. So I guess I'll send the parking authority that question, if that's what they want to do, and confirm that, and then we can take it from there. That's all I had on this one.
Okay, thanks, Tim.
welcome.
Any comments from the commissioners?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is Will. I think that it's prudent to get our solicitor's opinion on that legal question first. And if just for the benefit of the newer members, if somebody would just very briefly explain what a municipal improvements agreement is.
Tim, do you want to take a crack at it, or do you want me to do it?
All right, for me.
Oh,
Oh, go ahead. Wait, Michelle volunteered.
oh, good. Well, there you go. We got the expert.
A municipal improvements agreement, you'll see throughout Jerome's reviews, the 2 agreements are typically required for projects, some projects. A municipal improvements agreement is basically, it's an escrow, letter of credit, or a bond to secure that the improvements that are required as part of the plan are completed. So that should these not be completed, the city has funds to go back and reach and complete the improvements as necessary. The other is a stormwater management agreement, which what we're talking about agreement is under stormwater provisions, you have to, the city is supposed to inspect stormwater facilities over a 10-year period, and there's funds escrowed to inspect those facilities. And it also puts a burden on why the improvements agreement typically ends after either completion of the improvements or 18-month maintenance period of those improvements. The stormwater agreement continues for a 10-year period, actually forever, but
Yeah.
requiring the landowner to maintain those stormwater facilities.
Right, yeah, our MS4 requirements require that the city be able to enter upon the property to do inspections of the BMPs, the best management practice for stormwater, in perpetuity, forever. Or until the use changes.
Right, and the municipal improvements agreement usually is triggered when there are changes to the utilities connections and things of that nature. I think sidewalks and curbs and that, and I'm not sure the precise scope, but it doesn't come up on every project, just so everyone understands.
Very good. Do you have anything, Frank?
No, not at this time.
Okay, Peter?
I'm good.
Okay, Nelson? Okay, great. Danny?
How many spaces total for the lot?
82.
Yeah, it's a lot for that small space. Oh, which reminds me. The thing I wanted to bring up, looking at the plan. The way the engineer has the reinforcement to the existing brick walls doesn't seem sufficient to carry the load. I'm not an engineer, but if I was building it, I wouldn't build it according to what they have planned. And I built restaurants and houses since I was 13. And I wouldn't allow that. I wouldn't allow that just to have. What do they have? They have reinforcement on the top 2 feet, and then they're going to cap it with concrete. Whenever I had to do a project like that, we actually had to drive rebar all the way down to the foundation. So, that might be a thing that we need to take a look at. But like I said, I'm not an engineer, but in my years of experience, that normally would not be allowed. Okay, any other comments on this project?
Yeah, just to respond to you, Wayne, being the engineer on the staff here. We've run into this a couple of times where we do see structural improvements like this, especially modifications of existing retaining walls that border alleys. This is, we saw if Supernatural 1, if you remember way back, we had one like that, same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we went through the same process and required that the engineer submitting the drawing would specifically state that, that it was pre-engineered, and it's, they have to sign a certificate of accuracy. And that means that, we're not looking for a survey to sign that. We want an engineer, preferably a structural engineer that's submitting this to sign off that it is structurally accurate. Otherwise, I'm not a structural engineer, and neither are anybody reviewing the plan. We're going to rely on this engineer. If it were to fail, where there is a 10-foot wide brick alley, it's not like it's right up against another property. If it were to fail, and there is, as Michelle stated, I think it's an 18-month maintenance period if it were to fail.
Yes.
Yeah, this should be on the improvement. Another reason for the improvements agreement. Where if it were to fail and compromise the alley or whatever, we have that to fall back on.
Very good. Thank you, Tim.
You're
This is actually very important information. I've been thinking about this for a while. So. Very good. Any other comments on this project?
How much brick is exposed? I know this site has some elevation.
Well, I'll have to send you the pictures, but it's at least 4 feet
Mhm.
in height.
Okay.
The other problem is that the way that it's drawn on the plan and the way the existing conditions are don't match.
Mhm.
On the north wall, there's a large section of brick missing. And it's not accounted for on the existing conditions page. And I should probably send those pictures out that I took the other day to so that everyone's on the same page and see what I'm thinking. Because like I said, I'm not a structural engineer, but I am a little worried about it.
Yeah, just one thing, Mr. Chairman, we did review this plan before, and there's been a lot of progress on it, and there's still a lot to go yet. But it was really rough the first time, but it's getting there. But there are a number of concerns that staff has raised that need to be addressed yet. So we'll look forward to seeing further progress next month.
Okay, very good. And with that, I will ask, since we do not have Berks County Planning Commission review yet, I will ask for a motion to table.
I'll move to table it. This is Will.
Okay, thank you, Will. Second. I'm sorry, I missed that.
Like I said.
Peter will second.
Okay. Oh, I'll take Nelson this time.
Yeah, there you go.
I like to spread the goodwill around. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you very much, and we will move on to the next. Our next project is the Reading Housing Authority Oak Brook Daycare Center Land Development Plan at 1001 Scott Street. And I will turn it over to Jerome for the synopsis, since this is the first time we've seen this.
Okay, this review was issued on November 21st. This is in regards to the Oak Brook and it was submitted by the Reading Housing Authority for the Oak Brook project. This is a implementation effort or a post-approval project that was approved by the zoning hearing board for a daycare facility. It also involves site accessibility and a new parking area to accommodate that use within the property. It does not involve any new buildings, just new site improvements. And the new site improvements include stormwater management facilities and site accessibility to and from the property. Some key items that are noted on here are that the landscaping plan that they did submit appears to be acceptable. The certified arborist should review that. With regards to site accessibility, we weren't exactly the width of the point of egress to Patton Street, or the point of ingress and egress to Patton Street should have a width of 22 feet. I think that they're showing it as a width of 17 feet, and it also then narrows down to where they have existing solid waste management facilities for solid waste and recycling. So there's going to have to be some modifications with that area. With respects to sanitary sewage disposal, there may be an increase in sanitary sewer flows as a result of this project. And we had asked that the information be submitted to Public Works for further review and consideration. Fire and Rescue is also going to have to evaluate the site accessibility issues, as well as the fire hydrants, standpipes, and other emergency management facilities within the area. Stormwater management plan appears to be in pretty good shape. They will need to supply some calculations in order to support their design. The erosion and sedimentation control plan will need to be approved. The curbs and sidewalks with it and driveway aprons within this stretch, for the most part, are in fair condition. Public Works will need to do an evaluation of those. Probably the driveway apron will need to be replaced at Patton. Oh, there was a waiver that has been submitted for this application. And this is in regards to whether or not this qualifies for a minor land development plan. This project, this plan could be identified as a preliminary / final plan. It does meet the qualifications. A municipal improvements agreement will be required. We provided some basic instructions for that, and a stormwater management improvements agreement will be required as well. Now we'll just have a quiz on what those are. So that's a summary of the review comments. I believe that there's someone here from the Reading Housing Authority.
Yes, it's
Yes.
Randy Daltrick who completed the plans. I think Dave Talarico's on, and also the architect is also online too. But I'd just like to point out, we did get a planning commission review, Berks County Planning Commission. We did receive their review yesterday. And we already do have approval from the Lancaster County Conservation District.
Works.
And it was just an error in assembling the report, but my stormwater calculations are done. I can email them tomorrow morning. But it was just an error that they were not included in the package and I missed it.
Great.
I don't know if anybody has any questions. If you want to go to the proposed development site, or
Randy, we also got the Berks County Conservation District approval for the ENS. That came in the mail earlier in the week.
okay.
So I believe that's taken care of as well.
They're not going to be under the guidelines for an MPDS permit since they're under the area of disturbance. So it's
Great.
it's a small project.
Yeah, so that's helpful also. I think at this time, if you can clarify this. I know you have it written here in comment number 17. That we should consider the waiver that they are asking for. To submit this as a preliminary / final.
Yeah, they had asked for just to go in as a final. It does meet the plans exempted by standard procedure. And therefore it can be submitted as a preliminary / final plan application.
Okay, great. And that also reduces their fees, I believe.
Yes.
So that's great. You have listed here that the sections applicable are from the SALDA of 515-312 and paragraph 515-403.
They're correct.
Okay, very good. So at this time, I will consider a motion to classify this plan as a preliminary / final plan application. And waive sections 515-312 and sections 515-403. Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Okay, thank you, Nelson. Second? I'll second that. Okay,
You have to spread it
question on the
around.
motion? Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, very good. Let's see here, just gotta mark this here. Okay, very good. We have heard from staff, we've heard from the applicant. Any comments from the commissioners?
I just want to point out that, I was a prior commissioner of the Reading Housing Authority. long time ago, and they have been doing a lot of, good work with those two facilities that they manage in the city in the city of Horizon, and that daycare center is much needed, added to the services that the Berlin House Authority provides. So you have to be commended for doing that.
Okay. Very good. Anything else from the commissioners?
Wayne, this is Tim. I just have a couple.
Yeah,
quick
go ahead,
comments.
Tim.
Just want to let Randy Dotrick know that we did receive his narrative on the planning, the planning module for sewer flows. I'm looking into that. Yeah, unfortunately, the proposed flows is under 1 EDU. And it is located on one lot, but the lot is huge. It's 101 Liggett Avenue, and that's an enormous lot with a lot of units on it. If it's possible, and Dave Talarico, I don't know if you've got water records that you could dig up just for those buildings. We're trying to see if there was 1 EDU or 262 gallons per day, if it would match, and it would then agree with the letter, the narrative. And if it does, then, planning modules wouldn't be required. I still think even if it wasn't quite the same, it still wouldn't be required, but at least we would have some records local to this particular building or buildings that are being converted. So if
Tim,
we,
Tim,
yeah.
I could add to that. So this is the abandoned boiler house when we
Right.
decentralized the boiler plant, and that happened in 2000. So that was 22 years ago. I don't know what records I would be able to produce, but it was, it was essentially, it was the heating plant. So it was a closed system heating plant that was, it was also, providing domestic hot water and things of that nature, but there wasn't a lot going out of that plant that wasn't being, on a feed and return system back to the boiler room and recirculated. The maintenance shop is also a portion of that building. It's carries the same amount of maintenance staff that it's had for the last probably 30 to 40 years.
Mhm.
So the use of the building essentially is for the people who live there. So if they're using the community center, they may not be using their facilities at home. So
Yes.
yeah, I don't know what else we could do to consider.
No, that's a very good point. And you're right. And Randy and I did talk about that. Randy, I'm not sure that was included in your narrative. Do you remember if you put that in there?
I thought I did, yes.
The
Saying
point that
we
the
be
point-
serving the local area there. I thought I had that included in my.
Local area.
Let me,
Yeah, where the attendance, the attending persons, in there, even some of those that are actually staff members would actually be from the community.
Correct.
Yeah. If that could be, I'm looking at it now. Don't quite see that in it, but if you could add that in there, I think that would help. And then we'll respond to it because you're only talking about less than 1 EDU.
I'm sorry,
not a
say that
big deal.
again.
In other words, if you could just specifically state what Dave was just saying about the people utilizing the building are mainly going to be from the community. I mean, you're going to be having
Right, okay.
the folks, the children, the staff, basically, there may be a few people from outside, but most of them are going to be from inside. And with that, I think there's not going to be any question that there's just no additional planning needed for this.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Right,
The other
make
thing
the
is,
revision.
the other comment I have is stormwater management. We do need fees. I don't know if fees were paid for this. This would be under an exemption, so you wouldn't need to do a full-blown drainage plan, but we would need fees for the review.
Oh, I thought that was my mistake. I thought it was included in the land development as one. I didn't
Yeah,
think it was
there's a
fee for stormwater.
separate fee for stormwater management review. Yep.
All right.
Okay. And then the last thing is, Dave, there's these yellow curbs out there. I don't know, was that addressed? I'm not sure I saw it addressed in any of the reviews. Are we restricting parking on the street?
On McClellan Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim, we've found that we really don't need to use that area. Years ago, that's where the tankers would pull in, and we'd have the 7,500 gallon tankers that would fill the oil tanks when it was the old central boiler plant.
Yeah.
But we've been able to design around not having to use on-street parking there. So I'd like to keep it the way it is. It really opens up the front of the building. I'd like to keep the curbs yellow if we could.
Okay, it's your call. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't know, because I know you've been looking for other areas for increasing parking. So if you'd like to keep it the way it is, and we'll leave it the way it is.
Yeah, really. I think we'd like to do that.
Okay,
At
no
this-
problem. We'll just, then there won't be any change there then, and then you're fine.
Thank
And
you.
that's all I had.
Nelson, thank you for your comments. They're much appreciated.
Okay. All right, any other comments on this project? Very good. We have collapsed this into a preliminary / final land development plan. There are a few changes that need to be made. Considering that this is the housing authority, they are not barking for financial consideration. Because I would suspect that they have already funded this project. But you did say that we have received the Berks County Planning Commission comments?
Yes, we have.
Okay, great, then I can.
They
pass it over.
only had 11 comments, and a lot of them overlap with the city's review.
Very good. Then, if everyone is amenable, I would consider tabling this project and bringing this up for a final vote at our December meeting.
Yeah, we'd like to get the review, or if you can get the submission in by the 7th of December. That'd be fantastic. If you need extra time, just please let us know. The meeting in December is moved up a week, so it's December 20th.
So you want a resubmission by the 7th of December. I should be able to do that.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, because I noticed that a lot of the things here are actually in much better shape than the parking authority submission. So I'm really hoping that we're going to get you through in December. Because you guys have really done your homework.
Can I just ask a question, please?
Sure.
As far as like the emergency review, is that handled internally, or do I have to make a separate contact for that review to take place? That was one of the comments.
I sent my review letter to them directly, but you should reach out to either Jeremy or Trent to see if they have any additional comments. What they're going to do is they're just going to look what's proposed and assess the facilities and infrastructure to make sure that it's acceptable. They were probably asked the same question when you went to the zoning hearing board as well, so they should probably be aware of this project.
Jeremy is aware of the project, but we can certainly take it to the next level.
Jeremy could just email me, that's fine.
Same thing with the public works that was already forwarded to them for review too then? And I should just
Tim's there.
contact someone there?
Yep. Tim Kroll is online and with us, and he is our contact.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, and I think you've pretty much addressed everything. I'll just wait for your narrative. I'm 90% there to go ahead and not require planning modules. I just need to get that through the division manager. I'm sure she'll agree with me, but that's something we'll have to do here in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, I will.
I think that's it, because you're working out stormwater management, the details with Hawk Valley. And that should do it.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Considering that, do I, any other comments on this project? Okay, good. Hearing none, do I hear a motion to table?
We can do that.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Second,
Second,
Nelson, thank you. Okay, question on the motion? Oh, we're tabling. There is no question. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you next month. And I just want to thank the team for giving us such a detailed submission that we could move ahead with this. Thank you very much.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice Thanksgiving.
Okay, you too. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Next on the agenda, we have the Reading School District, the STEM High School Academy at 801 North 9th Street. I see Aristides is with us. I think he's still with us anyway.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think you guys are pretty well familiar with the project. I didn't want to go too in depth because I know we'll be submitting for our December meeting as well. I just had a few quick questions, hopefully, unless you guys want to go through anything. I know we did receive a Hawk Valley review letter on our last submission yesterday. So we're working through some of those, and those are some of the questions I had just back for the Planning Commission and or some other folks that are in the meeting tonight, unless there's anything you guys needed me to go over.
Okay, let me hand it over to Jerome because he'll
Sure.
have all that background.
This review was issued on November 21st. We did have a workshop session, which we did go over a lot of information informally. And so the applicant has submitted a final plan to address some of those concerns. There are still some outstanding issues that will need to be resolved. Some of them are dealing with and these are now down to minor issues which we can now address. And I think we'll be in a position for to approve this plan as a final plan. But there are some site accessibility issues that just need to be addressed. There are some stormwater management issues. Departments that need to be to evaluate the property. We'll go through the municipal improvements agreement for this project as well as the stormwater management maintenance agreement. So these are just cleanup items, and I think we just need to bring back a clean plan for review. What I did also include on page 4 was what their revised landscaping plan looks like as well. So everyone can see that. Aristides, what other questions did you have on the review?
Really just a couple for the comments. Comment 4B, an assessment report in order to consider vehicular, motorized, site accessibility, pedestrian linkages. I think that was our intent with that PowerPoint presentation, which we submitted, unless you see something else that's needed for that.
You at the workshop meeting, we had mentioned that you just need to touch base with the police department.
Right, yeah, I've called a couple of times for their traffic division, have not had luck yet, but I will continue bothering the police.
Break some laws.
Kindly.
Aristides, who were you trying to contact there? Was it just general, or were you trying to get a hold of Sergeant Doherty?
I called the non-emergency line and asked for their traffic division, and I explained the reasoning for my call. So
yeah, I tell you what, just send me an email and then I'll forward that to Sergeant Doherty, so to make sure it goes directly to the traffic officer and with the questions and the concerns that came up, and we'll try to get that through directly.
Okay, and then similarly with the fire marshal, if I just get an email or letter to you from Jeremy, does that suffice?
Yes.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be a letter, it could be an email.
Okay, great. I think I have that. I think I already said it, but anyway, comment 5, all proposed signs and detail should be included on the plan. I just want to be sure that's all site signage, correct? Like do not enter, one way, ADA spacing, or are you looking for details on the building signage?
No,
Okay.
just for the directional signs and things like that for traffic control. Those, if you do have the other signs, for what the Reading School District wants to apply, you can put them on now, but it'll be a separate permit later then.
Right, right. Okay. Comment 10, curbs and sidewalks along all the streets should be replaced. It is noted on the plan to be removed, and I believe we showed the detail. I'll double check on that. I just didn't know if there was something else that you needed on that.
I may have missed it, but I
Okay.
see it.
Just making sure.
Yeah, I think it looked
Um,
fine to me. I got the idea that they're all being replaced.
Yeah,
Yes, they are.
And and it should be in your escrow too.
correct. That kind of segues into, well, I'll go into the ordinance for the curb replacement. I know Tim and I had touched down a little bit today. I just want to make sure you're looking for what we're proposing on the plan.
Yeah, so the plan that we're looking at right here on the screen, would that be adequate
Yep.
to say that this is what's proposed? So we'll just use that as the exhibit.
Yes.
We'll make
Yes.
an ordinance and we'll submit it to council
Okay.
for approval. That'll just be an amendment to the official topographic plan for the curb.
And what do you need from us on that?
I think that's it. If I've got a plan that works, that's what I'll use as the exhibit.
Okay, great.
And this is, well, okay, the land development plan should be good. Just use the land development plan from the
Yeah,
November submission.
if you want, I can send you an individual single sheet if that, so you don't have to comb through all the pages if that's easier.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, pick the one that you think would diagram the new location of the street of some dimension lines. I think you show some dimension lines with respect to the right of way.
Okay.
Yeah, I do see them 34 feet, 13 feet. Yep, they're all, yeah, with those lines on it.
Yeah,
That'll
I can get you
indicate-
that.
Yep, good.
Excellent. Number 11, and again, we were back and forth today on the address. I'm assuming that comes from you, the post office and
Right.
emergency services, so.
So we heard from, Fire Marshal that he is fine with Douglas Street as the front. So we'll go with the Douglas Street and we have the number. Do we have a number that we prefer on that?
I don't know. I mean,
Okay,
I know
if-
we refer to it as 801 North 9th, so I don't know what number.
If not,
Douglas would-
then our engineering office will come up with a number that they feel is fits the pattern. In other words, they may look at the opposite side of the street. They may confer with, emergency services to see what number would be, sufficient for their purposes. So,
Okay.
unless
I
the
don't
school
think-
district has a number that they prefer, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they do. I can check in with Wayne in the morning. If it's different, I'll let you know. I'll just
Right.
email you.
It would just have to fit the pattern of the block.
Sure,
That's all.
sure. Yep. Just a reminder, if anybody has the ability to start getting some of the, I guess, boilerplate or agreements started, I can get those to the school solicitor so we can start pulling that stuff together.
I
And
can send you
then,
this, I can send you the samples, the blank ones. What
yeah,
we typically do is we'll send them to you, you fill in the blanks, send them back to me for review.
yeah, that'd be great. That, I know that takes some time, and if we can get that process rolling, hopefully it coincides. And then the last question sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, just to follow up to our earlier conversation, the school district's prepared to post the escrow, they're not asking for any type of waiver or anything like that?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay,
Yep. Oh, so the last question I had, I don't know if Mr. Neff is still on, at the workshop, there was a discussion about the zoning permit and fee. I think I'd forwarded that back over to you, Mr. Neff. I don't know if you had a chance to see that email where we submitted the permit and the application fee.
I don't think he's on. I can.
Oh,
Okay, Emily will double check with Thomas tomorrow.
yeah.
Uh,
Because I think
because he
we're all,
doesn't
I think
need-
we're all set on
yeah.
that. I mean, we did the permit, the application fee, we had the special exception hearing and granting of the variances. So unless there are other zoning comments that I'm not seeing, I think we're, I mean, I don't know. We should be able to get a permit.
Yeah, okay, yeah, Emily's here today, so luckily,
I'll double check with Tom.
yeah, Emily will
Okay.
double check with Tom tomorrow. Just check in with Emily at some time.
Okay.
We are closed to Thursday and Friday, right?
Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Good.
So. The only question I have for you, Orestes, is, did you submit a PennDOT permit?
We have been back and forth with PennDOT. I think there were some moving pieces with regard to how some things were tying into that sidewalk. So I'll have to check with my engineer. But yes, our intent is to have obviously a PennDOT HOP for work within the right of way at 9th Street, which includes the saw cut of pavement, removal of curbing and sidewalk, replacement of curbing and sidewalk in place, as well as a few utility connections right along the edge on our side. So that's a pretty simple HOP. We're not closing much down. So.
Yeah, and I'll offer this too. This HOP for the benefit of the commissioners is not a driveway HOP, and it's not
Right.
like a utility vault HOP. It's a very simple HOP. You can almost consider this a construction permit because all it's
Right.
going to do is allow them to saw cut the 9th Street to install the curb in the exact position that it's in right now, which is what's shown on the drawing. So I would suggest that if they didn't get the HOP in time for an approval, that you wouldn't hold that condition against them for a vote of approval, because it's really not that critical.
But we are getting it. So rest
Yeah. No,
assured. we're not just gonna-
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you submitted it because I had a feeling that this might be what Public Works was going to say, that we shouldn't hold it up.
Mhm.
For that, so.
Yep,
Okay.
not this one.
So, any other comments from the staff?
Just a couple. One, a couple of stormwater management. One is, I don't remember, I couldn't see in my file that the review fee has been submitted. Do you remember, Aristides, if we received a review fee?
I don't recall.
Yeah, could you check and see on that?
Yeah, is that fee's listed on the website?
Yes, so, and I think this is you didn't get an exemption on this, right? Are you doing a full drainage plan? If it's a full drainage plan, it's $1,000 plus the $100 for the submission.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to take a look back.
I can't remember that, yeah, but yeah, check on that and see if you have a question, just shoot me an email.
Will do.
Second thing is, one of the items on the list talked about waiver of the stream bank condition in the stormwater management ordinance. Are you still looking for a waiver of the stream bank condition? I think there was some comment too about maybe you'd want to consider the void space in the stone to try to get you closer on that routing. If you're asking for a waiver, then the commissioners would have to vote on that. And we don't typically do it for stream bank, but we'd have to look into that. That's the reason I bring up that one particular point. It would involve a vote if you were asking for a waiver.
I believe we're still requesting that. I don't have Justin with me.
Yeah.
Who did the stormwater engineering, but I know
I
he
think
and-
there was a suggestion from Hawk
Mhm.
Valley. You may want to relook at it with the stone voids and see if maybe you could revise your calculations to get closer to what's required and hopefully eliminate the need for a waiver.
Yeah, and I would not recommend a waiver. If there's a support for a modification, we could do a modification, but not a waiver.
And I'm not sure I understand, Michelle. But
Well, a waiver indicates they don't have to do it, a modification suggests that they have to do it in a different way. That may not exactly compliant.
Yeah, because what they're saying is that the facility that they're building for stormwater management will meet certain conditions correctly, but not, there's this third condition and it doesn't quite meet it. And I didn't look at the routings, but I guess it just doesn't quite come up to a full 100% compliance on that because of the size of the facility or something.
Yeah,
So-
I'll touch down with Justin tomorrow. But,
Yeah. I think it's just best if we can avoid the waiver or the modification altogether, see if we can't get that stream bank requirement.
Yeah, I'll touch down and be in touch with you and or Mr. Hartman.
Okay, very good. That's all I had.
One other thing going back to the, and it's probably on the plan and I probably missed it, a bicycle rack.
It's not shown on the plan you're looking at. And that's because we're still trying to pick one. But
Okay.
the intent would be at the what we're calling the parent drop off, the main entrance that faces Douglas. There's a pretty large concrete area between the ADA spaces and the roof overhang. Whether or not we have the ability to slide that underneath the overhang, which would be my preference as a bike rider and out of the elements, but we're working with the architect on picking one. We can certainly just show a line and a label in the interim, and you'll see that on the submission for December. As well as trash receptacles.
Okay, great. Okay, anything from the commissioners?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is Will. Just two follow-up things. Of course, we're looking forward to seeing that PowerPoint presentation that we couldn't see over the phone and couldn't hear well. So very much looking forward to that. I appreciated the district presenting that. I know there was some communication between Public Works and BARDA. If Tim Kroll would please update the commission on the bus stop that was brought up in the summer.
Yeah, I left that out. And I think Aristides is aware of this too, that there is a bus stop actually right on the, next to the property there at the corner of Douglas and 9th. And that would be the northeast, or actually of the property, that would be the southwest corner of the property. It would be the northeast corner of the intersection. There's already an existing bus stop there and it is active and they would like to maintain that. And my question was, it looked like it was very long. And I don't know, Aristides, if you were able to get that on your survey, the exact position of that BARDA bus stop.
No, the only thing there's no line work associated with the bus stop. The only thing that we have denoting where the front of the bus stops is the sign that says BARDA bus stop.
That's it. Yep. Do you have that? It is on there?
It is, it is on the base plan.
Because it looked like it was about 80 or 90 feet from the crosswalk, which is for what they call a far side location. In other words, the bus can use the actual intersection. They can actually pull into Douglas Street and pull into it. They only need about 40 or 50. 40 feet would really be plenty. So you could squeeze another 2 or 3 parking spaces out there.
Yeah.
And I think we'd like to have those spaces.
And part of our presentation where we accounted for or quantified the number of existing parking spaces pre-post, that accounted for a 40 to 50 foot swath, basically past the intersection of Douglas for the BARDA bus, so that we're not skewing numbers that way. But I don't know what BARDA needs, but we certainly acknowledge that they still have a bus stop at that corner.
I raised the question. I didn't get an answer to that specific question. I did get an answer that it is active and they want it there. I did not get an answer to why it's set so far back. So I will continue to ask and hopefully we can move that sign that shows on your drawing back toward the intersection. I got it starred, so I'll I actually have a call in to the gentleman who handles this. He hasn't called me back yet. And that's on my list. So
okay,
we'll keep it moving.
Yep.
Well, thank you for that. And it is hard to tell without the curbs being painted. I guess some bus stops have that and some don't. But again, the district here is providing ample off-street parking. But anytime we can gain some additional spaces, if BARDA would move the stop closer to the intersection, which I would think would be, like you pointed out, easier for the buses to pull in and out from. Anytime we can gain some additional spaces, it's a plus. So that's
Absolutely.
great. And the other one, I appreciate the engineer just mentioned the trash receptacles, and so appreciate any thoughts on that. Now we have an expert on solid waste on the commission, Mr. Chairman. Any insight he has? Of course, I was thinking, we don't want the kind that would encourage illegal dumping. There are ways to structure them, that they're just to mitigate litter, which is certainly a concern around.
That's the struggle. I know, I work in my community with youth athletics, and we put trash, basically just glorified barrels, the plastic, whatever, 50, 60 gallon barrels out. And of course, they're out in the community, so anybody walking by can use it, which is really the intent. If I'm walking down the street and I have trash and, there's a trash receptacle, I'd prefer it be in the trash can. But these would be, that size in nature.
Right.
Like I said, along with the bike rack, we're trying to select the actual specified trash receptacle. I'm thinking one with, I don't want to call it a lid, but it's got kind of a lid that keeps the elements out of the bags, and keeps things from blowing around, hopefully. So it hopefully it's not going to be of a size where you're going to be worried about someone throwing a mattress in it, right?
Right.
or car tires.
Because that sort of thing happens.
Yeah.
So I think you understand exactly what, that we had the same idea on that. And if Commissioner Dabowski has any thoughts, I would appreciate his insight. And just to close the loop on that, for Public Works, we talked about 9th Street is on the street sweeping schedule, but there's typically not an expansion to the side streets around a school for the street sweeping program, is there?
As far as I know, Windsor and Douglas you're referring to, I think they sweep
Right.
streets. Are you saying, do they or don't they sweep those streets?
I'm wondering, if they're not on the current schedule, would they be added, or because I know 9th Street is, but I don't know about I doubt the other ones are on, but
Well, there's
Or
signage. Yeah, there's signage on, I'm not sure about Moss, but I know Douglas and Windsor both have signs,
they are on the schedule.
no
Okay.
parking Tuesdays, 8 to 10 a.m. or whatever.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
that schedule is. So
Yeah, that makes
Okay,
sense.
because here in my neighborhood, the side streets are not on, so I don't know. I didn't look at the details on that. So
Yeah.
if they're on, that's great. So I don't know about Moore Street or not, but the dilemma there is if you do this street sweeping, it really makes a traffic bottleneck. So I don't know what to do, but at least the trash receptacles. So I'd like to hear any thoughts from Commissioner Dabowski. Thank you. That's all I have for now. Thank you.
thank you.
All right. Any other comments from the commissioners?
Yes, I'll make mine very brief. Yes, Commissioner Simplici brings up a good point, and I think the school district has already taken a practical approach by finding the most. There's not a perfect trash receptacle, but finding the one that works best of minimizing litter. You can really, unfortunately, it's like grime. You can't eliminate litter.
Yeah.
So you just can't. It just now. How many? I know you guys had talked about this last month and stuff. How many students are expected to be at that school?
Well,
I don't know.
I'm not sure. This is built to accommodate up to 1,000 students. What the initial number? I mean, they're shooting hopefully for around 750 students to start.
Okay, that's very helpful. As everybody knows, there hasn't been that kind of pedestrian activity since the outlets were open. in the 1980s. So just a suggestion, the city of Reading has a litter container program. And if maybe somebody from the school district reaches out, or we can get somebody to ask the solid waste, the city may be able to provide trash receptacles further up, not on your property, but we get a feel for where are the pedestrians, the students, where are they most coming from? Usually we do a survey. We get out there one morning, you see where's the flow of traffic, and the city will be putting litter containers out there to help assist, the school district. Or assist everybody. We're in this together, so we can provide that. And if wanted, we have an anti-litter program and stuff, because there will be more litter. It's just when you have people, you have litter. There's just the way it is. So then we have to learn how to manage it and mitigate it. So, but yeah, it sounds like the schools are already kind of putting it, the right things in place with the right receptacle. That's critical. Critical.
Yep.
Those are my comments.
Okay, thank you, Frank. Anything else?
I think the workshop that we had was very useful, a lot of information in that about this project. I mean, tons of information. So I'm a big fan of the workshop, and I just loved all the information that I got out of it about this project.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
And as I mentioned at the workshop of Recipes, how you got the superintendent to show up is amazing.
Well, she's definitely vested in this project, so she wanted to make sure the right people, and I thought they did outstanding. I was just there watching. If you didn't notice, I didn't have much to say, so they did an outstanding job. They with regards to how this site will be accessed, utilized, and timing, that comes down to the end user, and it sounds like they've got their ducks in a row. So I appreciate their knowledge, input, and I thought they did an excellent job. So,
Any other comments on this project? Okay, considering that we have some changes to take a look at. I would consider a motion to table this until our next meeting, when we should be able to consider a final vote on this project. Do I hear a motion to table?
So move.
Okay, thank you, Nelson. Second?
Second.
Okay, that was Will, I believe.
Yep.
And, okay, all those in favor of the motion to table, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Very good.
all right.
Thank you. Once again, Orestes, I see that there's very little to take care of.
We'll try to take care of that for, and Jerome, you said the submission for the December 20th meeting is the 8th, the deadline?
Yes, so yeah, since we have this project, we'll go with the 8th.
12/8. Okay. I just wanted to verify so that I get everything you need. And Tim, I guess you and I will be in touch.
Yep, that'd be great.
Awesome. I appreciate your time, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Take care.
Okay, next on our agenda, we have the Albright Gingrich Library Land Development Plan. And I will turn this over to Jerome for the update.
Okay, we were fortunate to have a good dialogue at our workshop session. Applicant submitted a preliminary land development plan, which was reviewed by my office on November 22nd. The project has come along a lot further than we thought. Just want to bring to your attention that we did receive the Berks County Planning Commission review letter. And we did have the zoning officer weigh in with his interpretation of certain specific issues with regards to parking and dimensional requirements, lot area and things like that. So having said all that, I may state a couple things that have been updated as we go through the review letter. As I stated, this is a preliminary plan review. It involves 1.9 acres of land. It is located within the R3 and the INS district. The INS district is key because that allows this use by right. It also allows some flexibility with some of the dimensional requirements. Therefore, there's going to be no zoning variances that are required, nor will a special exception be required. So zoning relief will not be something that was going to be, we thought what was going to be considered, but it's not. So we have the zoning administrator's review on that to state that as well. We had stated that the applicant did provide a fantastic presentation, and that included a lot of architectural renderings, floor plans, and building elevations, which I don't know if it got sent to us or not, but I think the planning commission members wanted a copy of that, so we can get that. I think a hard copy of what you presented on the 15th would be acceptable.
Okay, I know we emailed, I thought we sent a hard copy. If we didn't, we'll send it to you.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Um,
Okay, moving through this, there were some issues that we thought that we were going to have with parking. However, it turns out that they did have a parking study or parking assessment done early in 2022, and this was before. This probably was done for when Exeter Hall was being constructed to make that determination. So they did do a report. It's got some contradictions in it, but it's at least a good baseline. They did demonstrate that they have more parking spaces than what's required. Our ordinance doesn't specifically have something for a college or university, but ITE does. ITE is the Institute of Traffic Engineers. So they do meet those baseline requirements. They do have 1,650 students, and they're required. According to ITE, they should have about 568 spaces, plus employment and things like that. By our count, it appears that the Albright has 917 off-street parking spaces. In addition, they also have on-street parking spaces, but we can't count those because you can't guarantee those spaces. So they're in excess of what ITE recommends, which is great. So we do not have any parking concerns for this project. We had asked them that they update their study to incorporate Exeter Hall, because now that they have even more parking spaces to the mix.
Jerome, as I understand it, that project, all of that parking is internal to that project, meaning there's nothing off site. It's all on that project itself.
Yes,
which is a third party developer that's doing that. Maybe what I need to do is coordinate with you a little bit more about what you're asking for.
We're satisfied with the requirements, but I'm thinking about taking this one level forward. If Bogia Engineering could combine.
Okay.
And then that way you have it for future assessment. And like I said, you didn't have Exeter Hall, now you even have more parking.
Gotcha. I believe Rockland Hall was included on that assessment.
They did
And
include
that's also a third party development.
Yeah.
So the other positive thing would be what I'm thinking of is those people who go to the football games and stuff and they park at Exeter Hall. Because of overflow from the little parking lot there at 13th and Exeter. I would suspect that their first idea would be to go over to Exeter Hall and park over there.
It's a little bit of a struggle right now. So there's talk about potential gates. That's just something else to be damaged, broke. And have to maintain, but we are considering something there we might do during ball games. We might have somebody there, public safety, to monitor and look at, do you have a parking sticker, or if you're an Albright College resident, or you there for the football game. So there's a conflict there that we're trying to make sure that we resolve the best way possible. So we got a couple thoughts, Wayne, as to how we want to try to avoid that kind of interaction between the public and students.
Yeah. And this didn't factor in the 601 on-street parking spaces that are technically in the vicinity of the campus, but they can't control because anyone can park there.
Yeah, I was a student there and yeah, I used to always park on the street because I was a commuter. So
We got the commuter lot, nobody parks in the commuter lot.
Well, back in my day, we didn't have a commuter lot.
Wow.
We were not allowed to park near Sullivan Hall. See, that's the thing to bring up. Something about parking, should have marked it down. Well, anyway, we'll get to that, but yeah, that's yeah, so I know that, you know, when we met at Albright, when Lee, myself, and Naomi met you at Albright with the team, that you mentioned that, and I really appreciate you sending that out.
And I'll take it a step further too, is that, you know, when other projects come on board other than these, for example, nursery, we will make sure that parking analysis gets updated to incorporate that as well.
Okay, I'm sorry, Jerome.
All right, we were happy with the landscaping plan that they submitted was met our requirements. We had asked that the certified arborist, and I think they already weighed in, but just want to make sure that they weigh in prior to final plan approval. I don't think this is going to be necessary, but if there is exterior lighting on the facility, then a lighting plan would be required. But you had mentioned, I think, at your presentation that it was all going to be internal, and then, of course, being lit up at night. So we're okay with that. So if you were going to have external facilities, then we probably would require that. So we're asking you to verify.
We will do that.
That if that's necessary. Again, this is the happy topic of the day. The refuse locations for solid waste and recycling. They're not shown on the plan, but they're probably going to be picked up and disposed of somewhere on this area. So just a general location of it. And if it's outside, then it needs to be enclosed with security fencing. Typically that's a standardized type of thing. Is there solid waste or recycling on this facility now?
The entire campus has a program. And so what we do is basically our custodial staff, they go through, they'll collect the refuse, they'll separate the recycling. And basically we have a truck that comes by and picks it up. We don't particularly like to have any type of garbage as much as possible outside. We try to just go ahead and collect it, take it to a central location and get rid of it that way. We don't like to just leave it out there as much as possible. Even with some of the students, before we have some of the receptacles that are out there, it gets into overflow, they disappear, they move, that kind of stuff. So it's constant little bit of a battle there. So this particular building, what we're going to do is we pull all of the garbage out that night. We immediately take it to a truck and we dispose of it. Same thing with recycling.
So exactly what you said, just sum it up in a little note. And put it on.
I will do that.
Moving forward, I think we've gone through this before, but as far as sanitary sewage disposal facilities, there's more than likely going to be no increase in wastewater flows, considering these are existing students. They do not anticipate that their student enrollment will be increased as a result. It's just for improved facilities and amenities. So Tim, will they be required to go through a planning module?
Yeah, no, if they can respond to the affirmative to what you just brought up and what you mentioned in, I think it was comment 13 on your letter. Yeah, if you could respond either in a narrative or even better yet, if you could put a note on the plan that would answer that question. Do you expect that these improvements would generate an increase in the students or staff? If in fact it is what we think it is, when it's no, then no, the planning modules would not be required. But I don't want to put the words in your mouth, Brad King. I
Jimmy,
need
I
you to
appreciate that.
I
know
need you
that
to state that.
We will state that. I know that Christina has been going back and forth with you a little bit today since we got your review.
Yes.
But we will, again, double back around with you to make sure that our comment, or how do you want us to address it? If you want us to put it on the plan, we'll do that as well.
Yeah, if she wants to send letters, addressing the pre and the post and all that, that's fine. But actually, the most important thing is exactly what what we're talking about here. It's similar to what we just talked about with the Reading Housing Authority. That if this isn't going to generate any new persons, then there's no need for increasing the sewage planning. That's the most important item. And if you can state that, just put it on the plan, and the item goes to bed. We're done.
We'll do it.
Thank
And
you.
the positive thing about this, I don't know how familiar you are with the previous use, Tim, but the first floor was offices. It was admissions and
The president's, Prevost, there was also students accessibility. There were several different programs that were in there as well.
So it was already a mixed use where it was offices and plus the library.
Correct.
Right.
So I think their existing uses would cover that. They just need to craft the right sentence.
And we'll draft that for you guys review to make sure that before we formalize and put it on the plan, that we get the terminology and the verbiage correct for you.
Sure. Great. Just one other question, and Brad, stormwater management. There are stormwater management facilities. We did do a review. There are fees for stormwater management, and these fees are separate from other fees like the submission fees and zoning fees. It's just for public works for stormwater management. It's in the ordinance under 212, and I can review that with whoever.
Christina Crawford.
Yeah.
She should be online, but I thought we submitted those, but
okay, maybe you did. I don't know that I saw them. I can review it again. I don't know. Christina, are you able to comment?
I'll shoot you an email tomorrow with all the fees that we paid.
Okay.
And then confirm with you. I think that it's in there. There was several, I think there was 3 checks that we sent in that we had them processed.
It gets complicated.
Yeah, so I'll send over what we sent in and we'll verify it.
Okay, good.
Thanks, Christina.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving forward, speaking of stormwater, there are about 8 comments that remain, and I think that these are cleanup items that can be resolved very easily with the next submission. The Berks County Conservation District will also need to review and approve this application as well. Was an NPDES permit required? Yes. So that's probably the thing that may take them the longest on this project as we move forward.
Yes, it was submitted on November 4th, along with everything when we submitted to the city of Reading. So we're just waiting on comments back.
Okay. The remaining items are final plan requirements, such as the municipal improvements agreement and stormwater management maintenance agreement. I wasn't going to be in this position, but since the 2 items that I talked about off the top with the zoning administrator's review, which was positive, as well as the Berks County Planning Commission review, we're recommending preliminary plan approval.
Okay, we did receive.
Oh yeah, you got the county today.
Okay, great, because that was comment 19, but if we received them today, then we know that we will eventually get on the same page. We're not going to hold it up as long as we received it.
Yeah, I was going to recommend that they come in next month for the preliminary approval, because then we would have gotten the zoning hearing board's application in, and as well as the Berks County Planning Commission review. But
yeah, since there's no zoning,
they're resolved.
Yeah, since all that's resolved. Yeah, this is good news.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Jerome.
You're a month ahead.
Thank you.
Any other comments from staff? Okay, any comments from the commissioners? Okay, hearing none. Gee, wow. This is amazing. I'm not used to this.
That's what a workshop does.
Yeah,
Thank
this
you
is
very
what it
much,
works.
everybody, and you're exactly right. We appreciate everybody's attention to this behind the scenes. Really do.
Let me see here. Let me just make a note here. Okay. Hearing that, do I have a motion to accept, to approve, there we go, to approve the preliminary land development plan review. With the provisions that all comments on the letter submitted by Hawk Valley Associates dated November 22nd, 2022 are taken care of by the applicant.
Mr. Chairman, this is Will. I was not expecting to be able to do so, but I'll offer that motion.
Okay, thank you, Will.
Thank you.
Do I hear a second? Nelson seconds. Okay, question on the motion? Okay. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Okay. Opposed? Very good.
So Wayne, that information just came in just after we talked.
Great.
I was like, good.
Yeah, as long as we have it, you know, and you put it on the plan, we don't have a problem.
So we'll coordinate with the terminology and just make sure we got everything incorporated on the plan.
And I'm pretty sure with as detailed as it was, I don't think they have very many comments. It's probably the usual stuff. So, but once again, thank you, Brad. This is, as I've mentioned a number of times, this is a completely different. This is a completely different situation when Albright now comes to the table. Because of your initiative.
Well, I appreciate that, and as long as I'm there, that's not gonna change. Okay. So,
Yeah, we really appreciate it. It is a change from before, Mr. Chairman. You're right, where we did have trouble getting communication and answers, and it's a lot easier now. We appreciate it, and that's why we were able to proceed like we are now so quickly, and look forward to the final plan approval then. Thank you.
Sincerely appreciate Wayne, your attention and all the other commissioners' attention too as well. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Have a great Thanksgiving.
You too. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Have a great Thanksgiving. Thanks for attending the meeting.
Okay, you too. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Okay. We will now move on to item number 10 on the agenda, the Holy Trinity Church of God Land Development Plan. Is there anyone here for this?
Yes, Emilia Herrera, I'm here from Boyer Engineering, representing the applicant.
Okay, very good. I just wanted to double check. I'm going to hand it over to Jerome for the update.
This plan was submitted as a revised final plan. It is dated November 21st. The project has not changed much. So therefore, a lot of comments remain the same. One comment in particular that we want to, or there's several comments. In going through this, we had asked that the applicant touch base with the zoning administrator with respects to the floodplain overlay district and riparian buffer overlay district with respects to the labeling as well as identification of that. This comes into play when there's site improvements that are in close proximity to those then permits are required. And we want to make sure that the information that's contained on the plan is acceptable to the zoning administrator. That's the first area of concern. Next area of concern is the landscaping and buffer area that's been established. From the preliminary plan application, there was a buffer yard on the north side, and on the east side there was more of a buffer yard. But now there are essentially no buffer yards that are required, or landscaping screens or anything. The landscaping that's proposed is on other people's properties, and we can't do this. I brought this up to the arborist as well, to their attention, and they're going to need about 10 to 20 feet. There is room on the plan to make the adjustments with respects to the width of the roads. They don't need to be 26 feet. They could be 22 feet. That's the minimum requirement. And the parking spaces can be modified slightly. So what we don't understand is why this happened.
It was required by the Emergency Services Department that we provided 26-foot around the whole side of the building.
Okay.
Which is why the width was increased to 26.
How about the north side of the building or north side of the property where there's no buffer at all?
There is a sewer easement that runs along the property on that side. And it occupies almost half of the building width on that end of the property. So if you see on the plan, the sewer easement kind of runs on the outside of the drive and goes into the drive more than halfway through it.
Yeah, I know. It's now it traverses the property in the north to south direction. It then goes north to east on I'd say about for the final 100 feet on the property. But
and that's
there's
the area where we are not showing the buffer, where the sewer easement is located.
but you're showing the buffer on someone else's property.
Because our property extends, there's a strip of land that extends on the east side, a little bit past where the drive is, and that's where we trees.
I'm gonna have to show. I'm talking. Yeah, you're not gonna see this on the screen. This area on the preliminary plan, the shaded area was identified probably right about in here. Going across, and the trees were located here. Here's the sanitary sewer easement, which goes up and through. This is the area where they can't plant trees. We acknowledge that, but this is the area that's all lost. This area over here on the east side of the property, whether or not the 26-foot wide requirement is necessary, I don't see why, because there's 2 points of ingress and egress to the facility. We are losing this buffer, although they show it. I don't know how it's going to survive because there's a retaining wall as well. So I think we'll have to have a discussion with the emergency management coordinator. But I like to know why the paving is brought all the way to the property line, which you can't do.
Okay, we will have to look a little deeper into that.
Okay. Everything else on this review remains the same.
What, Jerome, while we're talking about the sewer easement, in addition to what you've just brought up, which I'm agreeing with, I'm seeing that the corner of the church appears to be overlapping that easement. In fact, it looks like maybe even a part of it might be right on top of the pipe. Does the engineer want to respond to that? Yes, in that area where the cursor is right there. Yeah. Yeah. Has Bern Township approved that you could put the building on top of the easement? Normally, that's not allowed.
I corresponded with Byrne Township and they are waiting for an application to be submitted to them for review and consideration, so that they can submit it to their municipal authority as well as the township engineer.
We have submitted an application to Byrne Township and plans to review. We provided an escrow payment so that they can start their review as of last week.
Okay.
So as of now, they should be able to review our plan.
Well, I think I need to talk to Jeremy and Trent on why they need a 26-foot. I know they needed it in other areas, but that was with just a single point of ingress and egress. So we have 2 points.
It might be a miscommunication. So, you know, might be just something to get clear.
The northern area, which I pointed out to you, I don't see how and why they did it that way.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm recommending we table until we get to those, and get answers to those points.
Okay.
Tim, do you have any other comments?
Just a couple. One of the comments we had our own little workshop, just a technical meeting, and we discussed the planning modules, the fact that they were brought in with just the new building and it did not include the existing farmhouse, which is currently on an on-lot system. So Ms. Herrera, were you going to be resubmitting the planning modules to include the farmhouse as part of the plan?
Yes,
Because right now
correct.
it's not connected. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
as when we submitted the planning module last, we hadn't had the meeting that we
Yes.
where we attended recently. As of that meeting, we're reviewing that planning module. We will be submitting it, including the house as we discussed.
Okay. Okay, very good. The other thing I think we discussed too is for the storm outfall, you're going to be connecting to an existing 24-inch corrugated metal pipe. And I think you were going to provide us with some photos just to make sure that that existing corrugated metal pipe is still salvageable, I guess you could say. It's still adequate to serve as the outfall.
Yes, those photos were included when I sent the revised plans.
Okay, you did send them. Okay, I'll check my emails then. Oh,
Yeah,
okay, you said, was that
was
that in an email or was that part of your submission?
I did both. I delivered that to the cities with the physical plans, and I also included that on the email with the whole package.
Okay.
But I
Very
can surely send those to you if you don't find them.
No, I'll check. If you submitted them, I'll check.
Okay.
And is there any more news on the vacation of Monroe Street?
The attorney is working on drafting them to be submitted. We just got an email today just for confirmation, so they should be ready in probably by next week, so they can go in for review.
Okay, very good.
A hearing will need to be scheduled. A hearing will need to be scheduled for that, Tim.
Yes, yeah, that'll have to go through the attorneys. This would just be a petition to vacate, and then you have to get together with, our solicitor, I guess, Michelle or whatever, to do the vacation. And that's the Monroe Street that runs through the middle of the property still needs to be vacated.
There are a couple others on there as well.
I'll revisit that again. I thought everything else was vacated. I thought we were down to just Monroe Street that runs through the middle. If you want to discuss it, I think it's on page 2 or 3, sheet 2 or 3 of the drawing.
It's Montgomery, Mercer, and Lackawanna.
Yeah, well, Lackawanna, the part of Lackawanna that's south of the, toward the river, toward the creek of the entrance, that's already been vacated. And Montgomery has already been vacated. Mercer has been vacated. The only part that hasn't been vacated is Monroe. And I think that is shown correctly on that diagram that's on sheet, what?
I think it's sheet 2, 3, or
2 or 3, something like that, yeah.
What we should do then is identify, if those have been vacated, then we should identify the ordinance that it was vacated under. or the
Okay.
petition or the resolution.
Ileana, is that on there, do you think? I thought,
I
I'm
didn't
not
see it.
seeing, I don't have it up on my screen, so I thought those were, because we went through this. I thought that those were noted correctly.
That is my understanding. I'll have to double check to give you a better answer on that.
Yeah. I'll check too. Oh, and one last thing too, on the stormwater management, would you check to see if the fees were paid? That's one
I
that
can
seems
check.
to get missed. Yes,
Yeah, I can check that.
very good.
One last thing is, you'll need to submit a, time extension for the project.
Okay, we're gonna get that drafted so we can submit it to you guys.
Okay. And then we'll work with you on the other comments. I just didn't want to go through them item by item again because we've done that before.
Yeah, we can discuss them in more detail, I guess.
Okay, if you want to arrange a Zoom meeting to do that, we could get everyone together and we'll bang it out that way.
Yeah, we can do that. I can send you an email tomorrow to see the availability when we can have that meeting.
That's all I have.
Very good. Do you have anything else, Tim?
That's all I've got, and I do have some availability next week, not Monday,
Okay,
and Tuesday's getting filled up.
understood.
Okay. Very good. Any comments from the commissioners? Okay, hearing none.
Yeah.
Anything from the applicant that you might need to ask?
No, I think the majority of the comments have been discussed that I had concerns. We did make our submission to Conservation District for the ENS and ES permit, so that's not the process. And like I said, we're working through the reviewing the planning module so we can get that submitted as well.
Great. All right. With that, I believe that considering that this plan will require some significant revisions, do I hear a motion to table?
Peter will do that.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Second? Daniel seconds? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Okay, opposed? Very good. Well, thank you, Ms. Herrera. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see your name. There we go, Ms. Herrera. If you can get together with staff next week and clear up a lot of these issues, I'm sure we can move this ahead next month. Our next meeting is December 20th?
Yes,
Yes,
the 21st.
and the submission deadline is December 7th.
Right, sounds good. Thank you. I'll be reaching out to you.
So, yep, so, yeah, if you can, keep that in mind, we hope to see you next month.
Same, thank you. You all have a great night now and have a great holidays.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay. Okay, next on the plan, we have old business project updates and pending plans, which are attached to the agenda. In case anyone has any questions about those, we are up to 31 items.
This needs to be updated as well.
But it will be updated. I spoke to Jerome earlier today about this, and a lot of loose ends are being tied up and when Brandy gets back from vacation, I'm sure things will, this list will go down. And I will mention that I'm glad that Brandy did check in with us because technically she's on vacation. From what I understand.
She's
Not technically.
Oh,
I'm just working remotely today.
I apologize.
No,
Okay,
it's all right. Tomorrow.
tomorrow. Okay, very good. We're glad that you joined us. Next we have plans requesting reaffirmation of approval. The first one is the Jan and Will properties at 810 Windsor Street. Do you have any comment on this, Troy?
No.
No? Okay. Do I hear a motion for reaffirmation of the project at Jan and Will properties at 810 Windsor Street?
So move.
Okay, Nelson, second?
A second.
Okay, I think that was Will.
Yes.
And question on the motion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
opposed? Okay, very good. Next, reaffirmation of Hope Rescue Mission Plan.
Brandy, did we get confirmation that the plans was recorded?
We did. It was recorded yesterday at the county. So we don't need to get a reaffirmation for this plan.
Okay, we are good on Hope Rescue Mission. Thank God for that. Because, yeah. Okay, next on the list is O'Neill Storage at 1403 Chester Street.
Brandy, what was the latest update on that?
So the plan is ready to be recorded. They still need the agreements. So whenever we get those agreements finished up, then they can all be recorded together.
I think we're in the final days.
Yeah, there were some emails about that today.
Yeah, I got Tim's approval of the agreements and we're gonna talk internally about setting up a process about that. Just out of caution, I would recommend you do a time extension or a reaffirmation.
Okay, very good. On direction of council, we will hear a vote for reaffirmation. Do I hear a motion to reaffirm the plan for O'Neill Storage at 1403 Chester Street? I got a
So
shaking
moved.
head from Peter. Second. Okay, I'll take Nelson this time. Okay, question on the motion?
And I've been
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, very good. And next we have, oh, I made a mistake at the beginning of the thing, but we'll fix it now with the help of council. But this one is on the list. Reaffirmation of Reading Station Building D at 600 Spring Street. This is the building where the storage facility is. CubeSmart will be going in. Do I hear a motion for reaffirming the plan?
I'll do that.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Second? I'll take Danny. Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, now this is the problem area, and we're going to talk to staff about this.
Brandy, were you able to get any further information about building 2, which would be Roman numeral 2, which would involve GoPuff and Three River?
They went ahead and sent a reaffirmation form for that building as well. So we do have a reaffirmation form for that.
We should do that.
I don't know what other information you need. It might be a good idea to approve.
Yeah, no, we just need to, I made a mistake at the beginning of the meeting about adding this to the agenda.
So it was or was not added? I'm sorry, because I was running a few minutes late. It was
Yeah,
not
it
added.
was not added.
Yes, you just need a motion to amend the agenda at this time to grant or to consider reaffirmation of the plan, and then a second motion, if so desired, to grant the reaffirmation.
Okay, great. Do I hear a motion to amend the agenda to include the reaffirmation of 650 Spring Street?
So
Yep.
Nelson? Okay, second?
Peter,
Okay, Peter? Okay, question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
aye,
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now we will have the motion for the reaffirmation of 650 Spring Street, Reading Station Building, Roman numeral 2. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Okay, thank you, Frank. Second? I'll
This
second
is
that.
Will, I'll second.
Okay, I'll take Will. And question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
opposed? Okay, very good. Next on the agenda, we have active plans requiring time extensions. The first one is the Iglesia Pentecostal Church at 1124 Schuylkill Avenue. As a note, I did notice that they are putting a new roof on the building. That under normal circumstances, that would not be allowed, but because of the poor condition of the existing roof, the Buildings and Trades allowed it to go forward. I don't have a problem with it. And I'm hoping no one else does. So with that, do I hear a motion to approve the time extension? Oh, how long is this?
90 days, they all are 90.
Okay.
Well, 2.
Do I hear a motion to approve a time extension for the Iglesia Pentecostal at 1124 Schuylkill Avenue for 90 days?
So move.
Okay, Nelson, second? Okay, I'll second that. I'm not on the agenda yet. So I'm not question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
aye,
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next is the Villa Independent Cottages at 1201 Museum Road. I'm going to ask Peter if he has any questions about this.
have they requested a time extension or is there any activity?
The property owner did reach out to me. She sent me an email saying that they are going to be moving forward with this project. They've just had illness in the family that she's been preoccupied with. I can show you the email that she sent me.
Peter, last time we considered the extension, the applicant was in Florida and claimed that she was going to take a more active role in the project. So I don't know what transpired, and Emily has the information. Small print.
Well, I've been made aware that they are marketing the property to developers to tear down existing structures and redevelop it as single family homes. So it's I'm not quite sure what is really happening there. That's why I asked, I guess. Are they requesting an extension?
I believe the houses were supposed to be like single family homes, but they were up like assisted.
The cottages.
Yeah, they're cottages. They are going to be almost like single family homes. It's just they also have that assisted living.
Yeah. Well, no,
capability.
this is doing something entirely different with the whole of the property.
Yeah, I think that might be something that might need to be followed up on if they're trying to take two paths at the same time.
That's what it seems like. Yeah.
You only have the plan in front of you to consider this.
Right, yeah, but it might be worth considering following up on. I just wanted to give Peter
Well,
the opportunity to comment since he's been following the project.
Yeah. No, I have no problem granting an extension.
Very good.
I'm
Okay,
just-
so with that, do I hear a motion to grant a 90-day time extension to the Villa Independent Cottages at 1201 Museum Road? Okay. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Frank.
Second.
Question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
opposed? Very good. And the third one on our list here is the time extension for the medical arts building land development plan on the exact address, but we all know where the medical arts building is.
228 North Fifth Street.
Yeah, 228 North Fifth Street. And how long
Mr.
is-
Chairman, on this, oh, I'm sorry, on this item, I did not reach out to get the extension because our paperwork indicated that it goes through December. So I didn't think they needed one and it could be considered, or I can reach out to them for the December meeting.
That's correct.
Okay,
They have time until December 31st.
okay,
So at the December meeting, we'll need to take action on the plan.
okay. So we don't need to take action on this at the moment. Thanks for clearing that up, Brandy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The one thing that we might need to consider at the December meeting is the holdup to this project has to do with building ordinances on the neighboring building. And I'm kind of surprised that I'm actually kind of surprised Alan hasn't bought the building. So we might need to consider giving just one last time extension on this unless we see some forward motion on this, but that's, we have a few weeks to think about this. And if the commissioners so like, they can drive by and see what the conditions are. And see what's going on with that.
Mr.
So-
Chairman, if I
Yeah.
just may.
Yeah.
Because I know the owner of the property
Next to it.
next to it, and the issue is that they don't want to sell it. And she has a partner, and they were in court discussing some issues with the building. But the bottom line is that they don't want to sell it. Or I believe they're asking more money than they are building, actually, because they understand that
Yeah.
that's the problem that's happening, as I know.
Oh,
My wife used to go to a salon there and I asked her, what's happening? Are you selling the business? I said, well, let me talk to my partner, see if we sold that, and they said, no, we're not selling the building. I think that's the main problem, as far as I know.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering, so, I mean, it's not up to us.
Brandy, we should reach out to Alan Schuman and have him present to the planning commission the issues that he needs to, why it's taking so long.
Okay, all right, will do.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea because there seems to be some sort of impasse here.
And we'll do that for all the projects that are asking repeated time extensions, not just
Yeah.
this one. For example, the villa, we'll, if it comes up next time, we'll have them come to you.
Okay, the reason that I bring this up is that Natural Produce 1 at 12th and Pike. Oh, no, it wasn't that. Jet Set on South 9th Street. They asked for extensions for 1.5 years. Because of different excuses and everything. And I mean, they eventually got everything straightened out, but you know, they never really gave us any idea as to what they were doing.
Would just
They
remember,
actually are under zoning violation, but that's a different story.
So,
Their parking lot is under zoning violation, it's a.
yeah, so, you know, I just bring this up that we kind of let them slide because of things. Part of it was things that was happening here in the administration and things trying to, you know, be nice, but you know, 1.5 years of every 90 days going, yeah, we'll give you a time extension. That might not be the best. That might not be the best idea for keeping things moving forward here in the city.
it just a remember that when you deny a plan, you have to set forth the basis referencing the Salvo as to why you cannot grant approval.
Okay, yeah, which is another important aspect because we were taken to court over this a number of years ago. So these are things that we can discuss it. We can discuss in detail. Luckily, Michelle is here and
It's not easy to deny a plan.
yeah. So for those new members, a little bit of background. Okay, so we don't need to take care of that.
Oh,
All right.
so let me ask a question then.
Sure.
You know, why not have the owner just resubmit when they're ready? I mean,
It makes
sometimes
sense.
things.
It makes
sometimes
sense
things
here.
happen.
What you need to do is deny the plan, and denying the plan is you're going to have to substantiate the reasons why it's denied. Cite the sections that it does not meet the code, and that's not a problem. Then you submit that to them, and they have the rights to appeal or to submit a new application. So yeah, that's an option that they can then do. It makes sense sometimes that they just submit a new application when they're ready.
Sometimes it's a fees issue.
Yeah, in my experience, it's a fees issue. They
Okay,
don't want to pay the fees again.
I see.
Yeah, but Mr. Chairman, this is Will.
Yeah.
May I suggest we invite the applicant to come in December and present the reasons for the delay, and then we could consider the extension based on that information.
Yep, no, that sounds good, and I think Jerome and Brandy have that in mind. And we'll go from there.
And I'm sure he'd be happy to come and present, so thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so, all right, with that. Item number 14 on the agenda is the announcement of our upcoming meetings. Or of upcoming business. Milt will say here that we did have a workshop meeting last week on November 15th. very successful meeting. With the Reading School District and with Albright College. That cleared up a lot of issues and really helped us today. So there's that, and then
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to add something if I may. Just so the newest members know, that was only the second workshop we've ever had. We only started this a few months back, and then we couldn't have them the last few months for various reasons. And I think we are finding that they are most helpful so that we can consider some of these plans in an informal manner and delve into technical matters and save time at this meeting, and then cover some other, administrative business and that sort of thing, internal, matters that aren't related to plans. Like we can focus on bylaws or ordinances as they become ready. And so I think it's great we make use of that because we have a lot more plans than we used to before. So I think it's a great tool, and I think we're wise to avail ourselves of it. So I just wanted to mention that for them. Thank you.
And I don't know if anybody from Spring Township's listening, but the idea came to me because Spring Township has a workshop meeting every month, because at least when I was covering them, when I was working at the newspaper, and I would even cover the workshop meetings, and they did seem to be helpful. So, I'm glad it's working out. Next, I'm going to turn it over to Jerome to discuss the zoning ordinances and saldo amendment updates.
As I mentioned in the past meetings, staff is working on prioritizing zoning and saldo amendments. We have them identified in 3 phases that will be considered during the course of 2023. We're getting close to a draft where we'll be able to release and then have the planning commission review those comments. There's probably about anywhere between 12 to 15 areas that we're going to focus on in phase 1. So we've wanted to group those together. And then there's going to be, as I mentioned, a phase 2 and a phase 3, but we're getting close to probably our January workshop session would be the first time we'll unveil those draft amendments.
Okay, great. Let's see. Next, we need to discuss the Planning Commission regular meeting and workshop schedule for 2023. Generally, our workshop meetings are on the 3rd Tuesday of the month, and the regular meeting is the 4th Tuesday of the month. Usually the only time we run into a problem is Christmas.
And
I do have one conflict with, if we do keep those timeframes, is in January. There are 5 Tuesdays in January. If we could keep on our workshop session on the 3rd Tuesday, if we can make the regular meeting on the 5th Tuesday, that'd be great. I will be here. Otherwise, I'll be on Zoom, and I can't guarantee the connection.
Yeah. One year we did do it on the last Tuesday of the month and wasn't a problem. Does anyone foresee a problem holding the January meeting on the 5th Tuesday of the month?
I will not be there or be able to attend. I already have travel scheduled.
Okay.
Peter, were you available on the 4th Tuesday?
Yes.
We can rely on whatever I have for a connection.
Okay.
But I'd hate to be garbled up in not having a clear connection.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Does everyone else, however, will be able to make it on the 5th Tuesday of January? What's the date?
Yeah.
31st. 31st. Okay. I have no.
Are there any other months with 5 Tuesdays?
Yeah, there's, would be one other, would be, what, August,
May.
May?
Yeah, but then you get into probably Memorial Day weekend.
Right.
August
And August, okay, we got 3 this year.
And
This leap
October-
year?
and October.
God, that's rare.
October, however, will be Halloween.
Okay, well, we can't step on Halloween.
I had a zoning hearing for Halloween this year, so.
Yeah, I've already got them on my calendar as the 4th Tuesday for each month, and I try to plan my travel around that as best as I
Okay.
can.
Well, then, let's keep it for the 4th Tuesday, and then Jerome and I will just have to do a little bit extra planning ahead of time.
Yeah, and if my connection's bad, then you'll at least have my report
Mhm.
regardless. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Except, what do you want to do about December?
Oh, December, I suggest that we cancel the workshop meeting and hold the regular meeting on the 3rd,
On the 19th.
on the 19th. If that works for everybody.
Yep.
Okay. Great, I think we have a meeting schedule that we can publish.
And just to clarify, will Lendo do that publication? Will you guys do that publication? Can you find out?
I think we posted it, so just, I don't know if Jerome or Brandy types it up and then it gets uploaded onto the website.
What, it also has to go to the newspaper.
Okay, that I don't know.
Brandy, that's something we're going to have to research what Naomi did for publication last year.
Okay,
And our office has been
All
doing
right.
special ones and the workshops and things like that. But if you need us to do it, let me know. We'll
I
do it,
think
but I think Linda
we should-
Kelleher typically.
We'll figure it out.
all right,
I
thank you.
think we,
So,
I think we typically vote on approving the calendar.
Oh, okay. Okay, with those comments, do I hear a motion to approve the regular meeting and workshop schedule for 2023, where the workshops January through November are on the 3rd Tuesday of the month, and the regular scheduled meeting is on the 4th Tuesday of the month, except for December of 2023, where the regular meeting will be on the 3rd Tuesday of the month.
I'll offer that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Will. Do I hear a second?
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Okay, question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
opposed? Okay, thank you. Here. Brandy has been very busy this month, so she was not able to quite get done with the minutes. And we completely understand that, so we will pass over that item.
I beg your pardon, Commission. We got a lot of really good projects, though, and we had a really good workshop, so that's the good news.
Yeah, no, we completely understand. I still have meeting minutes from 2015 I'm supposed to finish.
Yeah.
So with that, the next planning commission meeting will be Tuesday, December 20th at 6 p.m. It will be a hybrid meeting, and if you want to be in person,
That's a good point.
Just thinking the same thing.
You're gonna have to advertise for next year for the Zoom option as well, the hybrid versions.
Is that what the commission and city desires?
I would prefer that actually,
Yes.
I would as well, but just to make sure that that's noted.
because, some of us, some of us have 2 meetings on the same night and it just works out that you can stay in the office.
Or last week with the pending weather and it was a workshop, I appreciated being able to.
We
Yeah,
need the flexibility to do it either way, I think.
yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think it's wonderful to have.
Yeah, 'cause sometimes like next meeting, I might not be here, right, can log in, so.
Yeah.
So it's good to have the flexibility.
Great. So, go ahead, Will.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but the audio tonight was the best it's been. So that made it a lot easier.
That's because I made everyone sit next to the speaker that actually works.
Ah, thank you, Emily. Appreciate it.
So should I make a separate motion for that it needs to be advertised as a hybrid meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. Amending the previous vote to our workshop and regular meeting schedule. Do I hear a motion to approve that all those meetings will be hybrid meetings?
So move.
Thank you, Nelson. Second?
Second.
Okay, Will,
Mhm.
question on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. Very good. Great, that's fantastic. Okay, as I mentioned, the next meeting is December 20th. And flipping over to the second page for the first time in a long time. Is there any other comments for the good of the order? Okay, hearing none, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make that motion.
Okay, thank you, Peter.
Second.
Okay, Nelson?
It's my favorite motion of the night.
I forget if there's a question on the motion or not, but a question on the motion? No. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
opposed? Very good. Once again, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate everyone's dedication to the planning commission. And I think we have a really great team. So I look forward to next month.
Very good.
Okay.
Chairman.
Thank
night.
you. Good job. Happy
Good to see
Thanksgiving,
everybody.
everybody.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Good night.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.